Hi, my name's Claire Griffiths.
And can you explain what team you've been selected in?
I've been selected in the state Tasmanian Rugby 15s team. So we're heading to Melbourne in September, and it's a rugby union state representative team.
How does it work in terms of training, and how often do you play?
So we train once a week. We have a bit of a break over finals because we're fitting in a state training in the midst of our local competition, which is a statewide competition as well. And then we head over and we play 2 games across the 3 days that we're there against 2 Melbourne clubs.
Okay. And when was that, sorry? That was shortly?
That will be
September
19th and 20th.
Okay.
So we head over on September the 18th.
Yep.
We were originally planned to play Victoria Country and Victoria
Metro. Yep.
But they have fallen over with the Victorian Rugby Union.
Okay.
So the alternative, which we are going ahead with, is playing Melbourne University and a Western Suburbs team as well.
How did you get into rugby union?
Good question. I was actually part of the startup team in Burnie, which is my hometown and where I'm from. We were called the Northwest Panthers. I was playing AFL at the time, and I had a friend I was playing with from New Zealand who was really keen to start up a women's rugby team because there was no options for her. And I thought, oh, you poor thing, like nobody's going to go along. I better go support my friend because there's going to be no interest because it's a terrible sport. And then I loved it, and that was 8 years ago. So I've been playing since that startup team, and we've had a revised women's competition across the state. And then when I started university for School of Medicine, I was actually playing in the Southern competition on Friday nights. Then I'd drive home to Burnie, and then on Saturday I'd play in the Northern competition on the Saturday.
So definitely love it.
Yeah.
What sort of skill, what do people need to be good at rugby union?
Nothing to be good in terms of skills that people usually think about as physical skills. The things that make you a good player or to be good at the sport are the type of attributes that make you good in all kinds of life. So good teamwork skills, good communication skills. I really enjoy the aspect of rugby that there's a role for everyone. It doesn't matter your size, it doesn't matter how fast you can run, it doesn't matter how tall you are. There's always a role for you to play amongst your team, and there's a bit of strategy involved. So I quite like that aspect of being able to use my mind as well as the physical attributes.
Can you talk a little bit about the strategy? Because from my perspective, I see 2 rows of players going at it in a very physical and strength-based sport, but that's obviously a very superficial look at it because I don't know the game that well. Can you talk a little bit about the strategy and that?
Yeah. So I guess there's two ways of thinking about strategies in a rugby union game. You can do what I love to do and bash it up the middle, and that's to run through people and over the top of people. But also the strategy is by doing that, you're bringing in more defensive players as well, which creates space out wide. And so if you do that a few times in a row, then you've brought players in that were defending the space out wide, and then you're able to utilise what we call the backs. So we differentiate players by forwards and backs.
Yep.
Forwards are your crash and bash players, and backs are your speedy weedies and your little pocket rockets that are out on the outside.
Yep.
And so the idea is if you crash up the middle a few times and spin it out wide, then hopefully you can run around them. But if you get through in the midst of that, through your crash and bash, then that's also a win.
Have you had many injuries yourself?
I've had a couple of injuries. I've had a significant concussion before, and that was maybe in the 2nd year of playing. And I think in my 3rd or 4th year I had a significant knee injury, which was just when I got selected to the Aon Sevens team as well. So that was a semi-professional team, and I was announced as part of the squad, and I just had a broken knee essentially. So I spent all of my rehab whilst they were preparing and playing interstate, which was based around the university then. So I was with the UTAS Aons team, and we had Olympic gold medalists from the 2016 Rio Olympics as well, divided up between those teams. So it was a really fun time as well in the sport. But they're the only 2 significant injuries that I've had actually. So I get a lot of questions around injuries and rugby union because everyone has this perception it's quite physical and creates lots of injuries. But when I compare it to my time playing AFL and then professionally from what I see from other sports, I actually think it's not as prone to injuries as people think. And I think that's because you know where the direction of the contact is coming from, and there's a lot more technique involved.
In terms of your training, you do it once or twice a week, and can you talk about where it is and what you have to do to participate?
Okay, so because we're still in season, we've got a mix of our club trainings and then we've got the statewide trainings. So in theory, I'm training 3 times a week, but 2 of those times are with my club, which is the Launceston Rugby Club, and then once a week we have our statewide representative trainings. So they've been mixed up between Hobart, Campbelltown and Launceston, and that is held on the Sunday for 2-hour session based on, we usually go over some skill sessions and then a bit of a team run as well, because we're bringing a group of girls who usually play against each other on the weekend, and I'm about to go play a game on Saturday against my future teammates in a couple of weeks, and then the very next day we'll rock up together and we'll be playing on the same side. Yeah, it's our opportunity to try and get some practice in before we face the Victorian teams of actually playing together, because usually we're on the other side of the field against each other.
Is there a great social aspect to the game? You talk about playing against your teammates and whatnot. Do you catch up, or is there outside of sport benefits
Absolutely.
to joining a team?
So the social aspects are really what's kept me playing sport. I think the statistics on women playing in sports, I think by the age of 18 and 20 most women stop playing sports. To be still playing significant sport, I think, is really about the social aspect. And so that's not just about mateship and friendship, but also we've had the clubs that I've been involved in have really prided themselves on being a network for people. So this is for people who didn't have a job or didn't know where to go. We've used the club as a ship for steering them into a direction of where they could get those opportunities. So essentially I've realised that it's been creating a network, and as well as a lot of Pacific Islanders as well, because a lot of our Pacific Islanders who come to Tasmania work in seasonal work, and sometimes they will be spending their time working and remaining in their groups and don't really see anyone else from community, and it's been a way that I've really been able to connect with them as well.
Is your New Zealand friend still playing with you or in the area? Or?
No, she's moved to Western Australia actually. Yeah, which is a shame. But I've got some friends that I've still been playing with since the first season or second season, but I'm probably one of the few left playing in Tasmania from 8 years ago, from that start-up team.
So
there'll only be a handful of us, maybe 3 or 4 of us left.
Imagine there are breaks sometimes, if pregnancies and stuff.
Yep.
How do people start playing? Who do they contact? What do they do if they're in the Meander Valley and they want to start playing rugby union?
So there's a couple of options. I know a lot of people aren't that keen on the contact aspect first. There's actually a tri-tag announcement, a meeting tonight. So hopefully that'll be a competition that'll be available, so it's a non-contact version, especially over summer. And then there's still touch football. We often have a lot of people who play rugby get involved in that. And then otherwise it's contacting a local club. So for Meander Valley, that's Launceston Rugby Union Club. So they have a Facebook page that you can reach out to.
And what is your favourite part of the Meander Valley?
It's generally just the community. Since coming here in January, I've been really surprised by how welcoming everyone is. I'm not sure if that's a skewed perception of having worked in emergency where everyone expects that you're going to change everyone's life right here and now, but that professionally has really impacted me, how everyone's just so grateful for everything that I have to offer, and everyone wants to know, am I going to stay? It's one of the first few questions people ask. Are you going to stay here, doctor? Or please don't tell us that you're going to be leaving us soon. Yeah, but it's nice to really meet your neighbours and really get to know them, and that community feel is what I love the most.